Hotep, Black Power. Your brother Shaka saying Kofa here. Coming to you with some more good information for y'all today. As always, giving honor to the Creator, giving honor to the ancestors, giving honor to all the brothers and sisters that are fighting for the liberation and salvation of the black nation. There's a few things I want to discuss today, as far as us as a people. It's a lot of things that we got to do. First of all, as a result of our interaction and our influence by this albinoid devil, who has not only affected us but infected us. And it's just a lot of work that we're gonna have to do, for us to be able to stand on our own platform, because we've been leaning upon and dependent upon their platforms or somebody else's platforms, for that matter, for so long, that we don't know. It's like a baby. There's a child that's 10 years old that don't know how to walk because somebody has always held their hand and have never allowed them, or they've never even made the effort to try to walk on their own. And that's where we at. We don't know how to stand on our own. And that's what we're gonna have to learn how to do, is to develop a platform that we can be able to stand on our own 2 feet. You know what I'm saying? So, and the reason why these albinoids, these crackers hate us, because of the fact that we're the closest things to God. And by this motherfucker hating God, that's why he has so much hatred for us, because we're the closest thing to God. We are the gods. We are his God. And that's why he has so much vile hatred for us, for his hatred for God. Because any species or specimen or thing that has a hatred for the Creator, it can't be nothing but an adversary. Excuse me, I don't believe in that devil shit, but it is. I do believe that it's an unseen. I'm not gonna say believe. I know that it's an unseen energy. There's a negative energy. There's a demonic energy that's unseen that affects so many people, that was innate in the albinoid species, which is the motherfucking cracker. So and a lot of times, we don't, a lot of y'all gotta learn, man. Y'all do not like to say anything negative about this motherfucking cracker. You get so fucking uncomfortable. But it's okay to say anything we want about each other. But when we mention this motherfucking cracker, everybody gets so uncomfortable and come up with all these justifications for the whip. And that's what I call it, justifying the whip. We want to make excuses and rationalizations and as to why we should be getting whipped by this motherfucking cracker. So and that's from a coon, that's from a house nigga's perspective. And a lot of us don't realize that we do have that house slave mentality. Even some of those who consider themselves conscious, quote unquote conscious, have more of a house slave mentality than someone who is in an unconscious state. And we have to come up and find some ways that we're gonna have to deal with this situation. Because everybody's always talking this Trump bullshit. And what are we gonna do now that we got a real slave master? in office. All of them have been like that. Don't get it twisted. All of them are like that. All these motherfuckers have been like that. You only look at, for example, Hillary. It said that she's dead. She was killed on 9/11. Because if you remember the 9/11 memorial where she collapsed. And if you look at the footage, how they're carrying her into the Secret Service truck, they take her, instead of taking her to a hospital, they took her over her daughter's house. So that just, makes it appear that she was murdered and replaced. And it's, if you look at the so-called Hillary Clinton that's there now, it looks totally different from the one we saw from the Hillary Clinton of 2-3 years ago. And a lot of people, say, try to say that that's stress from her husband, and that's bullshit. And speaking of, Clinton is far from the only one that was fucking up in that White House. Not only was Bill Clinton fucking Ronald Reagan, Nancy Reagan used to have the Secret Service go get 3 guys, 1 brother and 2 crackers, and they used to gang bang her. And then when they finished with her, they used to go on there and bang Ronald Reagan in his ass. Because you remember when they used to always say that Reagan was flown to this hospital for, complications from the gunshot wound from John Hinckley. But that wasn't the case. He kept going back and forth to the hospital because the brother that was going up in him was tearing his asshole apart. And so he had to keep going back to the hospital, back and forth to the hospital. So, and not only that, Gerald Ford, he was a stumbling drunk, and he would hit anything in the White House, anything that had a skirt on it, whether it was male or female. Nixon had the Secret Service going down 14th and U and pick up 2 and 3 prostitutes at a time for him. George H.W. Bush, he had got his the White House secretary pregnant. He had 2 extramarital affairs. George, the son Bush, had several women pregnant, in which his father took care of all those situations by way of abortions. Jimmy Carter, it was said that he was too ugly and too country and dirty. He was one of the dirtiest crackers that has ever been in the White House. So and we are the main stage, in terms of everyone looking at us, because Trump doesn't give a fuck about being the president. He doesn't care about this shit. He doesn't care about this country. Only thing Trump cares about is money. He's just concerned with just bread. You know what I'm saying? And you have to look at the team that he has. The players on his team. And he has a hell of a squad. So let me see. I forgot to give you another person. Kennedy, who Marilyn Monroe got on her knees while he was sitting in a chair in the White House and bobbed down on him, and swallowed semen and all this bullshit in front of the Secret Service. That was the reason why he had her, killed, because of that, and We look at God sent us here to teach the world. You see what I'm saying? Not to take lessons. And we have to do everything we have to do has to be from a divine perspective. We can't do anything from a stupidity is not a divine perspective. Being dumb is not a divine perspective. We brought civilization, we brought flavor, we brought life, we brought rhythm, we brought everything to the universe. And if we had to go to court tomorrow to prove it, we couldn't because of the way we treat each other. With so much vile hatred and so much disgust, and we have to take this energy, and use it inward. We have to take it and use it inward. Clean your house up. There's nothing wrong with being strong, cleaning your house up, and not taking a fearless approach into the cleansing, into a thorough cleansing of your body, mind, your energy, and your soul. So you can come into your true God self, and we don't have to depend and hold nobody else's hand. Like we don't know our own way. When we were the way, we are the way. So excuse me. Yeah, excuse me for the interruption, brothers and sisters. Just had to take care of a few technical situations. You understand how it go. And and those are things that we have to do. We have to the cleansing, and that's the purpose. Nothing is out of order. And the reason why these things are taking place is an opportunity for us, to do a final cleansing. And the reason, and let me backtrack a little bit. The main reason why Trump is in office, he was selected, is the fact that this is white supremacy's last stand. And that's why they're doing everything they can. They got this big arsenal of albinoid devils lined up, and that's why they have Pence, just in case, Trump doesn't stick to the script. They have somebody behind him that will enforce the agenda which they have so well planned for our demise and to further our oppression, in this abyss of poverty, drug addiction, homelessness, despair, mass incarceration, AIDS, infant mortality, physical deterioration, the health situation, our health crisis, and things of that nature, the HMO, the GMOs, what we eat, and an array of things, FEMA has, resuited and booted up, in preparation for mass exodus, for mass exodus of people of color into these internment camps, and we're not aware of it. Actually, most of us don't believe that this cracker will do this to us, that it can't happen. Oh, no, they can't do that. Who is they? Who will stop it from happening? Who will prevent this? Who will prevent a mass exodus of people of color entering these internment camps, being forced at gunpoint by FEMA out of your homes and loaded into trucks, going into these military bases where they've turned into concentration camps? Who is going to stop it? We keep saying, no, they can't do that. They can't do that. And yes, they can. And they will. All we have to do is remain in the state that we in this subjugated mindset, and this disparity energy that we constantly walk around in, this ball of confusion that we call our bodies, and that we call African Americans, which is a so stupid ass term, because none of us have had an official swearing in or naturalization in terms of citizenship here in this fucking colony. Although, you know, we're the first, we were here before anybody in this colony. However, we're treated as though we're immigrants or we have partial citizenship. So it's just time for us to put all this bullshit to the side. Grown men, 35, 40 years old, playing motherfucking PlayStations and smoking motherfucking K and, getting motherfucking faded all day long. That's not gonna get us nowhere either. Not being a proper parent. When I say parent, you don't have to be biologically related to a child to be the parent. Because being a father, mother, father, or parent is two different things. I would rather be a parent. A parent is someone who is actively involved, fully involved into a child's growth and development and upbringing, and education, and teaching the child who he or she really is. Besides just taking our children like we do now and just throw them into the public food system and expect them to come out, with this whole mindset and complete knowledge of self, which is unheard of, which is unreal. If you want your child to know who he or she really is, you have to take the initiative to teach that child. But first of all, you have to know who you really are. Or are you going to regurgitate the same information that when you went to school in the 60s, 70s, or 80s, or 90s, or whatever? Are you going to, that same fucked up information and education that was placed on you, are you just going to hand that down to the next generation? Or are you going to make some type of effort to do the research to find out who you are and to re-educate, our babies into bringing them to their full goddess hood that they're supposed to be at? It's up to us. It's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen. You can't. Excuse me. We have to give these children some raw information, because a white lady cannot teach an African child their history. She or he is going to give them her twist of his or her history, and it's always going to be watered down, and it's always going to be at a level where they'll be able to be controlled, and white supremacy will be the underlying factor in their thought process. That's the whole reason for this. So we have a lot of work to do. We have a lot of work to do, and it's gonna take, like they say, it takes a village to raise a child, but it takes a nation to create the villages. No one's exempt. Everyone has a divine obligation. Everyone has to play their position. And it's a position for everyone. Some of the positions and roles that some of us, and assignments that some of us will have to will be assigned, may not be an assignment that you may not be comfortable with or may not like for the most part. However, it is necessary. It's necessary. Each position is necessary. Like on the chessboard, each piece is valuable. But like brother Steve Coakley, and give my Bogart to the brother, pawns linked together can win, can dominate the chessboard. You can dominate and capture and knock over the hierarchy. Just the pawns. The pawns linked together. Let me give you an example. Like the knights and bishops. Those are the National Urban League, the NAACP. All the religious leaders. The knights and bishops and rooks. And if the pawns link together, they can destroy them. And we can trade off all our shit because we don't need that shit. That's an example that brother Steve Coakley taught us in terms of pawns linked together. And that's why it's so important that we pay homage and we never forget, our ancestors. We never forget these teachers, Dr. Wilson, Amos Wilson, Dr. Clark, Dr. Ben, Chancellor Williams, not just Garvey, of course, Garvey is one of the most famous black men in history, but, and Toussaint Louverture and Boukman, and Boukman Dada and Jean-Jacques Dessalines and Nat Turner and Gabriel Prosser, Denmark Vesey, Harriet Tubman, Ida B. Wells, Sojourner Truth, and the list goes on and on and on. Those known and unknown. Because it was more than one Harriet Tubman. We have to be clear about that. Just like, 100 years from now, how many people that was just as good as Michael Jordan? How many people that was just as good as Magic Johnson? Will LeBron James be talked about in 100 years, or he'll be forgotten about? And we'll just, the generations ahead will just do history on Michael Jordan? When you had people that was just as good, or and in some areas better. So, that's why I always say those known and unknown. It was plenty of Nat Turners. If you get Herbert Apathica's book, Great American Negro Slave Revolts, you'll see that it wasn't like everybody was picking cotton all day singing. It was always fires. It was always escapes. It was straight up guerrilla warfare in this country during the period of physical and chattel slavery. You had very few that were fully compliant, other than the house slaves. And history repeats itself. All energy is constant. It just changes form. And that's what physics law teaches us. And you see that now. Because you see the same house slaves, that energy has been passed on. We have house slaves today. Like Brother Malcolm said, we got a lot of house niggas running around here today. That have taken the side of the oppressor. They have taken and have told the slave master, give me the whip. I'll whip this nigga. Your Tommy Sotomayers, all these sisters that have married crackers, and these brothers who have married these motherfucking white dogs. The Kardashians. Those, and if you go back 100 years, just picture the Kardashians on a plantation. How many brothers would have gotten lynched, fucking with them motherfuckers? And it's the same way the Kardashians, they're the same way. They're just like the average white bitch. They're unfaithful. They have animalistic behavior, and that's in all areas of their life. The way they eat, socially, sexually, they have an animalistic, savage fucking behavior. And you got these brothers that go head over heels for them because they have stolen some sisters, some queens, and purchased some queens afterbirth or placebo from a hospital, and have put it in a form and have injected it into them, and that's how they began to take the form of, in a physical form of a queen. We look at that, that artificial, mutated, this mutated bitch as if it's real. We have a lot of work to do, and we don't have a whole bunch of time, brothers and sisters. We gotta get the religious piece. We gotta crush that. We gotta stop saying, you wrong because you don't believe in this, and I'm not black, I'm this, and I'm that. Stop calling yourself this, stop calling yourself that. I'm not going, be involved with this. I'm not going to do this, and you're going to hell because you don't believe in this and believe in that, and this person is the only one, and all this old bullshit, which all of it comes from somebody's own personal spiritual experience that they have shared and probably have written down, and you try to make it your spiritual experience. That's all a religion is. That's all a religion is. And most of the time, that person's spiritual experience don't work for you. That's why Christianity is not, all that shit doesn't work for people. And once we get rid of that and just deal with the spiritual energy, and the spirituality of our ancestors, the African spirituality. Nobody wants to be African. Nobody wants to be black. It's all these different names and substitutes. The term more just means black. Black or more. But nobody wants to be black, and that's just another form of self-hatred. I'm a white man and all. No, hell no. Hell no. It's not about this, it's about status and all this. You can't tell that when the police pull your black ass over, you can't say that. He don't want to hear that. That bullet is going into that status ass. So, a lot of these things that we study, all this new information and all that, all of it's fine. I'm not denouncing it. Don't get me wrong, I'm not totally denouncing it, but what I'm saying is that, it's a time for that. Right now we got to fight this motherfucker. We don't have time to take nobody to court and do no motherfucking court decrees and all this shit, while our babies are being shot down in the street by these motherfucking albinoid mutant devils. And the Europe, you can call him European. He is not our friend, man. He is a foe to not only Africans, not only to the black people. He's a foe to nature. Everything he has touched, everything he has put his hands on, he has destroyed. Everything that he cannot control, he destroys. It's a time where we have to take a stand. We're gonna have to fight this motherfucker, whether you want to do it or not. And if you're not gonna fight, shut your motherfucking mouth up. Just shut the fuck up and move back. We don't need no comments. We don't need no directions on how to fight. If you're not gonna be involved in the physical liberation and salvation of the black nation, shut your motherfucking ass up. It's just that simple. And and just like this conscious community, this shit is just starting to become commercialized. Cause you're gonna have, I know this, you're gonna have more people that are asleep, that don't have the knowledge, that's gonna do more fighting than these so-called scholars. Because everybody, if you listen to everybody's saying that their way is the way, that every time somebody tries to get $1, because I don't know none of the revolutionaries out there who are not trying to make $1. And like a lot of people, I remember, and I'm not gonna say no names, a lot of brothers and sisters were doing free lectures until they were shocked at the notoriety and following that they got now. You know, now they want to hustle the people and put everybody else down. Put everybody else down and give themselves all these divine names and shit, you know. But you talk divine, you know, but you had the behavior of a nigga. So, you know, and I know that you know, if I'm stepping on your toes, you know, move your motherfucking foot. It's just that simple. You know. Let's help these brothers and sisters. You know, let's show some unity. That's why a lot of people don't want to come into this fold, because it's just as much banging in the conscious community as it is, you know, in the gangs, as it is in the religions. You know, the Pentecostals, you know, against the Protestants and all this shit. The Mormons against the Seventh-day Adventists. You know, it's the same way they fighting and arguing over the metanetta, and you know, who's this and who's that, and you know, who's debating this person, who shut this person up, and then it gets to a point where they start talking about people's parents and shit. You know, that's why I stay out of that, cause you're not gonna have no one time to say nothing about my mother or my father in his essence. No, you're not gonna have that chance. It's not gonna be no, oh, you know, it's part of, this is just, we having friendly debates and all. No. I'm gonna open your motherfucking head up. And that's on everything. I'm gonna open your head up. You know, because I let one motherfucker get away with some shit that he wasn't supposed to get away with. But this faggot, you know, he thinks that, you know, I forgot. He thinks I forgot, but I ain't forgot. You know, because when I come to you, and when I come at you, you know, and then I'm not going to discuss that, because real G's don't do that. You know, I know better than that. You know, but anyway, you know, until tomorrow, brothers and sisters, you know, Hotep, Black Power. I thank everyone for, you know, tuning in to my channel. You know, much love goes out to all of you, all the people that are in my corner. You know, and to my enemies, you know, death to you motherfuckers. Fuck you. You know, and until we meet again, Black Power.